Hey, everybody. Welcome to this week's FF Uncensored. We apparently don't have theme music today, but it is 2025, episode 7.
You're back at the boat show? How's
I'm
it
back
going
at the
over
boat
there?
show.
You
The
know,
boat show's great.
any new stuff on
Do you want to come to the boat show? Would you like to come on vacation and we'll take you on the boat?
I think that would be a great idea. I've never been invited.
You are always invited. You are one of my favorite people. You can come visit whenever you'd like. I would even say you could bring your kids. There's a lot to do down here with them. I mean, you don't have to, but like we have an aquarium, we have like a Institute of Marine Mammal Studies where you can actually like go and they educate you about the animals, and they're all rescued ones that they can't release back.
Can I ride a dolphin?
You can swim with the dolphins here.
I mean,
but I would say you can't ride with them. They don't do that.
Hang on to the dorsal fin.
No. But they do a really cool sea lion show that is really fun. The sea lions are really funny and entertaining. But there really is a ton of really great kid stuff to do down here. Plus, you're close to New Orleans. You could do the Audubon Museum. Like, there really is a ton to do. So you're cordially invited.
There we go. And now it's public. Most likely this will be on the social medias, so it will live forever. It was on the internet.
You still haven't visited me. I've been here for almost 5 years, and you still haven't visited.
It's the first time I've gotten an invitation. So
I've invited your wife. So does that count?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
All right. Today we are talking about should I eat before I work out? Which is a question actually we get this a lot, especially from people that are newer to working out. Mm-hmm. And like anything, any question, it is very nuanced. And it is very individual, I would say. And so, but we're going to start this with, if someone were to ask for a recommendation, well, how do you start that recommendation?
I usually ask them what they're currently doing. So what are you currently doing? When's the last time you eat before you work out? And this is going to differentiate between my clients that train at 5:30 a.m. and my clients that train at 5 p.m. Because obviously the people who train at 5 p.m. have probably eaten a meal by 5 o'clock. Like, I'm going to make that assumption.
So, but here's the piece of it too. If someone has, if they're training at, let's say 5 or 6 or 7, right, which is pretty common for some people, they may have not eaten since noon. So they could be on a kind of quote, maybe 5, 6, 7 hour fast, right?
Yes.
So
the biggest one is, how do you feel when you're working out, and how do you feel after you're working out? Because for some people, that might be completely cool and completely fine. They might not need it. I do think that you usually train a little bit better and feel a little bit better when you're training with some fuel.
I think the type of training matters too. Well, and the duration and there's pieces to it. Like if you're just going to go in and hit like a little strength session, right? Maybe 30 minutes, just hit, like, you don't need like all of the things in order to just go in and lift some weights, right? Like, I would probably even argue, do you really even need pre-workout to like just go? Like, maybe you do, but like, you don't need to make sure you get food in. So actually,
the best pre-workout of all time is
coffee.
Just a cup of coffee. So really,
let's kind of back this up a little bit, just because we'll kind of where a lot of people think about this stuff. And so the reason a lot of like pre-workout meals, and like we were talking about this a lot, was because people thought like, hey, if I don't have stuff in my system when I go and strength train, right, am I not going to get the gains that I would want from that training session? And then if I don't get like protein in within like 30 minutes after my training session, like, I'm going to shrivel up and die, right?
Okay. God, you went so far back in time. It was really
fun.
Fun.
So like, but that stuff still lives in what I would call like the gym culture, right? Like, you'll see people like trying to slug down shakes like immediately after a workout because they're trying to hit the workout, the anabolic window.
Well, it's also that if you have more than 30 grams of protein, your body doesn't digest it. That is, maybe we should just do a whole bunch of fitness tags and an episode and like debunk them. Okay. So we're going to put a pin in that one for later. So if a client came to me, it would depend how I would answer some of these questions, whether they're male or female. I would say for the majority of my female clients that are especially women that are perimenopausal, menopausal, or before. If you are out of menopause, you kind of fall into a little bit, you get to be special. But any of those other women, I'm going to tell them they should probably eat something prior to training. And I would say like within 1 to 2 hours of their training window. I could eat a slice of lasagna and go train like immediately, and it would not phase me. And I could do cardio, I could run, I could do sprints. Like it doesn't bother me. Not ever. I would say like I'm one of the few people that could probably do that. But not eating can be a stressor on your body. And when we're dealing with a lot of hormones and a lot of stuff, especially if you are in a hormone transition, putting an additional stressor on your body isn't ideal. A workout is a stressor. Driving in your car can be stressful. So like, why don't we just give it a little bit of fuel so like we can eliminate one of the things out of there? That would be kind of my first one. Males are going to be a little bit different because hormonally they cycle a little bit more consistently. I think with all the research with that, they've kind of said fasted cardio or even fasted training, like there's not like this big bang for your buck that you're truly getting. It doesn't change that you're burning more fat or anything like that. So mine is, if you feel good you feel good training on an empty stomach, you're probably fine. If you don't, you should probably fuel.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it comes down to energy during that workout, right? If we are doing a lot more of like high intensity type of workouts, let's say we're doing a metabolic workout or a circuit or things where we need to really drive some intensity, having some carbohydrates floating around in your system like is probably a good thing. Having some glucose floating around in your bloodstream, because that's the fuel that you're using during these workouts, right? And so that can be a good thing. I think be careful with composition of foods before a workout. If you are going to have a little something, stay away from fatty types of foods. So one common one here would be peanut butter. So a lot of people do like peanut butter in the morning, right? They may do peanut butter on toast
or peanut butter banana.
Yeah, not
Those
the
are
best,
like
not the best idea before a workout, because fats are just digested really slowly. They take a while to leave the stomach, and so now if we're moving around, jumping around, and like this stuff is sitting in the system, and for people that have they're a little bit more, they have maybe a more sensitive digestive system, right? Like you have to kind of play with it. So my recommendations usually are something kind of lighter and carby. Banana, apple, fruit is a good way to go. Protein shakes, you kind of have to go like, some people can deal with some of that in their system, other people can't. And so sometimes a little bit, I wouldn't do a lot of volume, because again, like you are going to be moving. And so like having your stomach being full is not really what you want. And so we don't want like full meal typically right before a workout. It's like, think like snack size, right? A couple hundred calories, a little something in the system, right? Especially if you're training really early in the morning, because like no one's going to get up at like 3 a.m. to eat so they can train at 5 a.m., right? So that we actually get stuff out of our system. Let's be real. You're going to wake up at 4:40, like you're going to roll out of bed. Like, so it's like let's grab and go. Grab a banana on your way and eat it in the car on the way to the workout. Cool. Like that's going to be, and then how do you feel? Like, what's your energy like during that workout?
I would also say if you are someone that is training in the morning and you're getting hungry in the middle of your workout and it's affecting your performance, you probably need to eat a little bit more or eat before you work out, because that's a big one. Like I'm someone who, if I haven't fueled properly, I am hungry in my workout, and that is like a super distracting thing for me.
It's really interesting because like your digestive system should downregulate while you're working out.
Apparently mine is just so relaxed when it works out that it just knows that it needs to be fueled.
And that's the other thing why we don't want a ton in our system right before we work out, because you're going to get a down. So when we're working out, right, we're moving into our autonomic fight or flight type system, right? A fairly stressful period. Like it's a good stress, right? It's a eustress. And so when we move into that part of our nervous system, the things like digestion start to slow down. And so like you don't want a ton of stuff in your system, because it's going to take longer to move through your system, because your body is now moving blood flow to muscles and your heart and all these other things to get you through that workout, right? That's where something light, something carbier that gets digested quicker, and that's why we want to stay away from fats as well. A little bit of protein can be good too. Throwing that in, kind of playing with what works for your system. Maybe it's like maybe you have like some leftover chicken breast or something that's cut up in the fridge. You just grab a couple slices of that, or maybe it's a little protein.
I will say, like, while I am a hard-boiled hard-boiled egg fan, I don't eat the yolks hard-boiled. So in my case, I just take the yolk out and I eat the white of the hard-boiled egg, and I do 2 of those, and I can do a piece of fruit, and I can walk out the door, and it's totally fine. And they're relatively easy to eat pretty quickly, so like you don't need a ton of time. They're also pretty light. but I do remove the yolk because
Is
it's
that a
gross. But also
personal preference?
that's I don't like a hard boiled yolk. If I'm gonna eat a hard boiled yolk, it has to be turned into a deviled egg. So I just remove it because it does have it. That's where all the fat is in the egg. So it is a way that you guys could do it. Get it, and it's just something that those are a lot more grab and go than some of the other protein sources too.
Is it just too dry for you?
Yeah.
Have you tried like a soft boiled egg?
Yeah, no, I can't. I haven't mastered that skill. I keep trying to soft boil them, and I haven't been able to.
Where
do
you
it.
can get it where they're still like where it's
Yeah, I
still
haven't.
got some
And I have followed all of these recipes. I have one. Someone told me I could bake them in the oven, and I could do it. So I'm gonna try it.
Have you tried just like barely like just getting them so they like playing with your
Yeah,
time
and
on a hard boiled egg where
I
you can still
have,
keep the
and I
inside?
still make them hard. Like they're still very hard.
Pressure
Like,
cooker?
I can get. Ooh, I haven't tried that.
Pressure cooker hard boiled eggs are the easiest on the planet, and you get them like right every time.
Oh, interesting. I never do them that way.
Yeah, way better that
I
way.
don't really love my pressure cooker. It's kind of one of those things. Like if someone wanted to buy it for me today, I would sell it to them.
Yeah. Hard
But
boiled eggs though, I would try it. Instapot, hard boiled eggs.
okay, cool. I'm on it. So there's a lot of different options for doing it. So Trevor, for you pre-workout,
I don't even think about this kind of stuff. Like that's like this is a reality. Like I do not care unless I'm no, I don't even care. I was gonna say unless I'm playing in a basketball game. But again, I don't really like I am not optimizing for any of this. I do not care. I do not want to spend excess energy trying to figure out what I'm going to have right before a workout and have to bring that with. I'm going
but
to eat my normal meals and then I'm going to work out when I work out.
but here's the thing.
That is
Don't
my
you
style.
are there foods that make you not feel as great?
Oh yeah,
that you wouldn't
100%.
eat before you but you wouldn't eat those before you play.
Right. So if I'm going to play in let's say a basketball game, right? And I'm going to eat maybe a full meal because I'll play in a couple hours. I'm typically going to lean more towards, I might have like pasta. I might have like noodles and red sauce, right? Because it's just going to it's not going to be as heavy in the system. Like I'm not going to have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Like I'm not going to have really fatty cuts of meat, right? And I'm not going to probably be doing chicken thighs and that kind of thing because there's just more fat content to them. And they just take longer to leave the system. But for the vast majority of like, I think sometimes we can get so caught up in like the details that we just like don't execute at all. And so it's like workout. How did you feel? Right? Did you actually sleep last night? Have you kind of got sleep over the last 7 days? No, it's probably not pre-workout. It's probably that you're not sleeping. Cool. Fix that first. Right. And then it's like, all right, how do I feel during a workout? We do have people that get a little bit lightheaded or they get like that kind of thing during a workout. That's a good sign that like, hey, you're missing something probably before. Let's try a banana or something before and let's see if that gives you a little bit more intensity. But the other thing too is like the vast majority of people aren't working out hard enough to really warrant a lot of this stuff. Right? Like we're just like, let's be honest, we're not working out all that hard. Like, and I am right in the same boat with a lot of that. Like I'm getting in, I'm trying to get some movement in, I'm trying to move some weight, but I am not like I am not.
I'm probably working at 75
myself.
to 80% of my like, which means I'm not pushing any crazy boundaries. I'm training because it feels good. And that's really what most of it is. If you're looking for aesthetic type goals, like your nutrition is going to be the biggest thing. So like maybe if you're someone that this does like everything we're talking about is a little bit more detailed, but for most people, it's all about how you feel and then like finding what works the best for you.
Yeah.
Like I know Vicky has done a ton of this when like runners are getting ready to race. You should figure out what you can eat before you go run a 5K, right. 10K. Like, but like now you have Trevor who in his entire lifetime has played basketball and he knows pretty much what he likes to eat before he plays. And he probably sticks with it because it's a lot more of it is habit and routine. Without even like thinking about it. It's just this mindless portion of like, oh, hey, I'm going to have this. I know how it affects me. So it is just being aware of how foods affect you. What foods feel the best when you eat them. Those are probably the best ones to eat before you work out. Boom.
Right. And if you don't know, opt for fruit. Fruit, typically people do really well with bananas, apples, quick grab and go. Like that works really well. Try a little protein shake. If I am working out, like if I've been fasted for a long time, I might do some amino acids in a shaker bottle,
Mhm.
because the ones that we carry, amino code, are going to have some electrolytes in it. They're going to have some amino acids, but remember, amino acids are like the building blocks of protein. So they're all the little components. They're not these long strands. So your body digests them really quickly, and they don't typically create digestive distress for people. Whereas like a whey protein or something like that can sometimes, for some people, be problematic. And
I
so,
will say there's also like intra-workout and pre-workout things that you could consume in a workout if you feel like that. They're going to be shakes that have a little bit of protein and some carbohydrates that you could go with something a little heavier, but it's not usually made with whey and like some of that stuff. So like there are things there, but like again, those can get ingredient crazy. And why make your life super hard when you could literally just walk out of your house with a banana and eat it and everything
right.
will be fine? Like you
If,
don't need a costly product to make it better.
no. If someone asks me, amino code is kind of my go-to intro workout, where now I'm getting some amino acids into the system during the workout so that we're preventing any sort of muscle breakdown. And it's going to have basically zero effect on your digestive system because they're already really small. And so like the moral of the story, a lot of this is like your pre-workout is going to determine like many times how you feel during that workout, but like it's not going to determine like the effects from that workout. So the adaptations that you're going to get from that workout are going to be determined by the entire day, right, of process. So like we can't make up for crappy eating all day long with a pre or post workout. Like it just doesn't work that way. And so like it's the culmination of days and weeks that allows recovery to happen. And so think about pre-workout as how does it affect that workout? Is like what's my energy like? Do I feel like I'm getting lightheaded or I feel like I'm going to faint, and those kind of things. Like sometimes adding pre-workout in can help with a lot of those symptoms. But if you didn't get a pre-workout in, don't feel like you're going to die. Like
Pre-workout meal.
sometime
I think
pre-workout
we keep
meal.
saying pre-workout, and I'm like, maybe we should clarify that we're
Right.
not talking about like 250 grams of caffeine straight into your soul when you have consumed
Right.
no food.
So some of this stuff too, I think sometimes we can get so like rigid that we forget
Stop
like our
stepping
body is
over
very
dollars to pick up pennies.
yeah, like our body's super flexible, right? Like the body is like super resilient. And so if you don't get something in, like it's not the end of the world. Like you're not going to have a terrible workout because maybe you skipped it. Like, and so I think having a level of flexibility too is really important. And just the body has the ability to adapt. And so just
Okay, so as Trevor
get your
said, be
workouts
less
in.
rigid.
Be less rigid.
All
Be
right,
like
guys.
water.
I really hope that Aaron takes that piece and turns it into something. If you guys have questions about pre-workout meals and or anything else, we hope that you can flow like water and make it all work for you. Until next time. Are you going to say bye or are you going to keep being water?
See ya. Bye. I'm water.